Welcome, Knowledge Intelligence Business IBP web series. In this particular session, we're going to cover how to create a stored key figure under IBP, modal configuration, planning area, planning level, key figure section. To perform this activity, let us look at what key figures that we want to create. So in this particular scenario, I want to create a sales forecast quantity, a marketing forecast quantity, consensus demand quantity, and actual sales quantity. But all these key figures I want to store at a base planning level, which is basically a period, product, customer, and I've given specific properties that we want to use to create this particular key figures from. Okay, so let's start creating one by one key figures, and for that let us launch our SAP IBP Fiori Launchpad. So to perform this, let me quickly jump to our IBP Fiori Launchpad and let's launch again modal configuration and click on the configuration tile and choose our planning area and then filter the data by our planning area that we want to work with, which is basically K01, and select our planning area. And now let's click on the key figures to work on the key figure section. As part of this previous section, if you remember, I worked on the planning level. That's prerequisite for us to create a key figure. As of now, there is no key figure which is assigned to our planning area. So let's start creating certain key figures that we listed in our previous Excel sheet. So let's start creating one by one. So let's start with the first key figure. Let me click on create and let me start my first key figure, which is called sales forecast quantity, and we have to choose basically at what level of granularity that we want. So we have only one planning level, so I'm choosing that particular planning level and click on OK. So here, once a key figure is created, you can define the name. So probably I can say sales forecast quantity, and let's put the description also sales forecast quantity. And now let us also say whether it is a stored key figure. Stored is basically whatever the values that you are trying to put, they are physically stored in the database. And now I'm telling for this particular one, it is an editable key figure. So I want to keep it editable in the current and future. So a sales guy can come into this particular key figure and key in his sales forecast information. Okay, then click on save. Now let's create another key figure. Let's click on create. Then let's go ahead and give an additional key figure, which is basically our marketing forecast quantity. And again here also I'm choosing the same planning level because I want to store this information at period, product, customer level. Again, I want to keep this data as a stored key figure. So somebody keys in, then I want to keep this data physically in the database. And I want a marketing guy can come and enter the information in this particular key figure. So I'm making editable in the current and the future. So now let's save the data. Now let's create the third key figure. Basically click on create, which is basically I want to say a consensus forecast quantity. And click on OK. So let's type consensus forecast quantity. And let's choose it is also stored and editable in current and future, and save. So in this place where we can sit all together, the marketing and your sales forecast can come together and say, hey, what is the common consensus that we agree about the forecast? Okay. And the last one that I want to create is basically click on create. And this is where I want to create the actual sales quantity. Actual sales quantity. So I want to keep the data at the same aggregation level. And in this case, I want to say actual sales quantity. So I want to put actual sales quantity. So in this case, I want even this to be a stored key figure, but I don't want it to be editable. So basically, because actuals will be fed ideally from a systematic process where somebody cannot enter the data, it is not editable because that is coming from your ERP systems or the transactional processing systems that we have to capture the information from. Okay, and once you're done, click on save. So with this, we have created 4 stored key figures, which is sales forecast quantity, marketing forecast quantity, consensus quantity where they are editable, where users can directly key in the information in the Excel UI, but actual sales quantity are the factual information that can be extracted or integrated with your OLTP systems but cannot be edited. Okay.
After completing all these 4 types of key figures, it's important for us to define the input key figure as a stored type. So let's click on select each of those key figures. So I'm starting with sales forecast quantity and define as a stored value, and save the key figure. And then go to the marketing forecast quantity, define it as stored value, and save the key figure. And consensus demand quantity, define the input is stored value, and save the key figure. And then actual sales quantity, the input key figure as a stored value, and save the key figures. With this, we have completed creation of stored key figures. Thank you.